Alright, fuck faces. It's the hater, and it's time for AEW roster review up in this bitch, alright? Running out of batteries a little bit, so let's see if we can get this done. You know what I mean? First up, motherfucks, without any further ado, we're going to talk about all the wrestlers, and we're going to talk about if they suck or not, but we're also going to talk about whether they're a jobber in the context of the show or not. So, let's get started. Starting off with number 1, Adam Page. Alphabetical order, cuck boys. Alright, Adam Page. Not a jobber. Not a jobber. Let's be real, he's not a jobber. He ain't great. He's boring. He's interchangeable, Adam Page. But, let's be real, still a jobber. You know what I'm saying? In my heart, still a jobber. But in reality, not really a jobber. So, there you go. You know what I mean? That's how that goes. Alan Angel's total jobber, sucks ass, has done absolutely nothing. Apparently his career overall is 10-13. Never seen this guy wrestle in my life. Maybe he's an AEW dark mainstay. Alex Reynolds, jobber, obviously. Angelico, jobber. Anthony Bowens. He's obviously the second guy in the Acclaimed, but he does bring something to the table. He definitely adds something to the table. So I'm not going to say that he sucks. I like him. You know, he's good. Austin Gunn. I like Austin Gunn. You know, I like the way that he cheers like a lunatic on the outside, and I think there's potential there. So I'm going to give some props to Austin Gunn and say that hopefully he gets a slight push and gets to wrestle like on the main roster once in a while. Mr. Brody Lee, they still have him here. Rest in peace, man. Brody Lee was cool. He was not a jobber in AEW. He actually was prominently featured. Brandon Cutler, absolute jobber. Brian Cage, I mean, I want to say he's not a jobber, but he kind of is. You know what I'm saying? Like, he's going to lose to Sting and Darby. Right? He's been losing everything since he's come to AEW. I don't think he's won one meaningful match. You know, his career is apparently 17-4, his record, I should say. But it doesn't really matter because the 17 wins are irrelevant and the 4 losses are very relevant. That's the thing about AEW. AEW has a good way, and by good way I mean a stupid way, to inflate the records of its wrestlers, right? So you see all these people that are like supposed to be big deals, they all have these like incredible winning records. Right, but who cares? Like, they're not beating anybody important. Like, Brian Cage could go and beat Luther and Serpentico, right? And get 2 wins, 2 easy wins. Then he loses to Orange Cassidy or Darby Allin. So it's like, what the fuck's the point? You know what I mean? Like, I don't care. It's the same logic with, like, let's say soccer, right? A lot of people are like, oh my God, can you believe it? Messi scored this many goals. Ronaldo scored this many goals this year, right? And I'm like, yeah, of course they scored all those goals this year. The entire season involved them playing like 2 good teams. And then they're playing like fucking Mallorca, you know, beating Mallorca 7-0, let's say. And it's not this impressive feat, you know. Out of those 7 goals, Messi scored 3. Wow, greatest goal scorer of all time. No, motherfuckers, go score it against actual competition. How many goals does Messi have in the Champions League? Champions League is the best way to measure if a player is good or not. How many goals do you have in the Champions League, you know? Not when you're playing fucking horseshit like, you know, La Liga team number 8. No, motherfuckers, go play like Bayern Munich, see how many goals you score there, cuck. Same shit with AEW and their records. Cash Wheeler. I mean, Cash Wheeler is not a jobber, but he should be. Jericho. Not a jobber, of course. Jericho is a legend everywhere he goes. Christopher Daniels. I think he's a jobber. I think he is. Chuck Taylor. He's not very good. He has a great finisher, but he's not very entertaining. Not a jobber, I guess. Cucky Rhodes, motherfuckers. Cucky Rhodes. I mean, it goes without saying, Cucky Rhodes is not a jobber. Cucky Rhodes is the most inflated wrestler of all time. Colt Cabana, complete jobber. Colton Gunn. What the fuck? There's another one? Colton Gunn. I think he's the other son of Billy Gunn. Maybe he's the other guy that hangs out with him. Another kid. Colton Gunn. Colton Gunn apparently is undefeated, motherfuckers. In tag team and trios matches. But nonetheless, Colton Gunn. I don't know anything about him. He looks exactly like Austin Gunn. They should just be a team called the Gun Boys. Call them the Gun Motherfuckers. Dante Martin of Angel Dorado. Dante Martin of Top Flight. Who the fuck cares about this guy? Jobber. Beat it. Darby Allin. Not a jobber, but should be one. Airwolf Darius Martin of Top Flight. The Airwolf and Angel Dorado. What the fuck? Who came up with these names? These 2 guys are not only fucking jobbers, they also apparently are douchebags. Fire him. Beat it, kid. Dax Harwood. Not a jobber, unfortunately. Dustin Rhodes. I mean, he's not a jobber, but he also kind of is. You know what I'm saying? Like, he's never going to win a meaningful match. Eddie Kingston. As far as I'm concerned, Eddie Kingston is a jobber. Yeah, let's be real. Evil Uno, jobber. Frankie Kazarian, he's like better than Daniels in terms of being booked, but he's there. He's almost there, almost a jobber. Isaiah Cassidy, I consider him to be a jobber. I consider Private Party to be jobbers. Jack Evans, obviously a jobber. Jack Hager, jobber. I don't care what anyone says. Jack Hager sucks in TNA. I mean in AEW. Joey Janela, jobber. John Silver, I like the kid, man. I like John Silver, but I gotta be honest, he's a jobber. John Moxley, I hate him. He sucks. He's not a jobber, but he should be a jobber. He should, as a matter of fact, he should be signed back by WWE so he can go and continue his feud with Nia Jax, and she can powerbomb his ass or something. Jungle Boy, not a jobber. Jungle Boy is actually one of the very few wrestlers in AEW that I believe has been booked as he should be, right? He's been booked as a guy that has a bright future, because he might have a bright future, right? But he loses all the time, you know? He's not this like guy that's there yet, but I like Jungle Boy. He's starting to grow on me. You know, his new theme song is pretty decent. I don't like the fact that he's named Jungle Boy still, right? But like I've always said, I believe this to be a temporary step in the right direction. Eventually, he has like a Hurricane Helms type of change where he's like, I'm no longer a Jungle Boy. I'm now Jack Perry or whatever the fuck his name is. Jungle Boy Jack. I like him. Kenny Omega, I hate his ass. He should be a jobber, but he isn't. He's 39-10. You know, like, it's really fucking strange because that entire Kenny Omega is like not good enough, like, angle, you know? Lasted for like 2 weeks. You know, this guy has put himself over so much. He only has 10 losses and 39 wins, motherfuckers. And he's at the beginning of a title reign that's going to take forever. You know? It's pretty fucking insane if you think about it. You know, they try to do this like, oh, where's the best bout machine angle, right? And all of a sudden he's back, and it's like he's never been gone. He only lost 10 matches, right? Kip Sabian, absolute jobber. This guy should not be in wrestling ever. Lance Archer, I'm going to be honest, he's a jobber. He's a jobber to the stars. He's not good, you know? He's exactly the same thing as some of the other people that we talked about earlier, right? Where they win like 17 matches, right? Like Brian Cage. He's like Brian Cage. They win 17 matches against jobbers, against like nobodies. Like he'll beat like, fucking, I don't know, who has he beaten, honestly? Who has he beaten? He'll beat like, not Leon Ruff, but the guy that looks like Leon Ruff on AEW, who has the same exact character as Leon Ruff, just like a jobber that gets his ass destroyed by big guys. Like Lee Johnson. Oh my God, he's actually next. Lee Johnson. He was the next guy on the list. Lee Johnson. Yeah, he beats up Lee Johnson, who, by the way, is 2-30, right? 2-30, motherfuckers. He beats him up, gets a quick win, right? Like everyone's like think about that. Lee Johnson is 2-30. That means that 30 wins in this roster come from beating Lee Johnson. You know, in other words, 30 wins mean absolutely nothing. There you have it. Luchasaurus. Luchasaurus is not a jobber. Luchasaurus, I think, has a very good record. There it is, 38-13. Good record, and Luchasaurus is legit. I like Luchasaurus. You know, now I hate the gimmick, but he's cool. Luther, jobber. Matt Hardy, big money Matt. I think Matt Hardy is a jobber. Now, I think his role is going to be exactly what people think it's going to be. He's going to job to Adam Page. If he beats Adam Page, that's possible too, I guess. But I have a feeling Matt Hardy's going to be a jobber soon. Miro's undefeated, but he feels like an undercarder. You know, undefeated undercarder is what I'm going to call him from now on. So, not a jobber technically, but I don't see him ever having like a good career here. MJF, obviously MJF is not a jobber, but he has the same problem as people that I mentioned earlier, motherfuckers, as Brian Cage. He's 22-4, which isn't nearly enough, not nearly enough for this company. Like Luchasaurus had 38 wins. Luchasaurus should be ahead of MJF in everything, you know? He's 22-4, and the 22 wins he has have meant nothing, except for the Jericho one. And the 4 losses have been against people like The Miz. Not The Miz, what the fuck's his name? Moxley, I should say, the Mox. Mox and Miz, motherfuckers. The Mox and Miz connection. So his losses have been against people like Moxley and people of that ilk. Maybe like, you know, who else did he lose to? I don't know. Cody Rhodes, probably at some point. That kind of shit. Marco Stunt. Marco Stunt is a jobber, but he's like Drake Maverick in that he's a small guy and he is a jobber, but you just accept it for what it is. Mark Quinn, jobber. Matt Jackson, not a jobber, but sucks ass. Matt Sydal, jobber. I don't give a shit what happens. He's a jobber. Max Caster, I like Max Caster. Max Caster is one of my favorite AEW guys. Michael Nakazawa, I mean, he's obviously a jobber. Nick Jackson, not a jobber, but should be. Orange Cassidy, not a jobber, but should be. Orange Cassidy's record, motherfucks, is 16-9-1. This guy never wrestles. He's wrestled what? What's that? Let's see. 16 plus 9, 25, 26. And only one time this year he's wrestled, right? So he's wrestled 26 times in the year and a half of AEW. 26 times. That's once every 3 weeks. Fucking asshole. Ortiz of Inner Circle. Jobber. Pac. Jobber. He hasn't won anything meaningful. Paul White. Legend. All right. Penta El Zero Miedo. Jobber. Let's be real. Peter Avalon. Jobber. Preston Vance. Jobber. QT Marshall. Jobber. Ray Phoenix. Total jobber. He's like a jobber to the stars. But Ray Phoenix will never win like a big high-profile singles match. Like Ray Phoenix will never beat Kenny Omega on Dynamite. You know what I'm saying? Ricky Starks, not a jobber. There's potential here. Ricky Starks, like this last year, you know, if you start from today to a year ago, Ricky Starks is the guy who's moved the most in my heart in terms of being a good wrestler. I'm starting to like this motherfucker. You know what I'm saying? I like Ricky Starks. Sammy Guevara, complete jobber. His record reflects it. He's 22 and 21. Total jobber. Santana, jobber. Scorpio Sky, I haven't seen this guy in years. Jobber. Sonny Kiss, I mean, it speaks for itself. Sonny Kiss is a jobber. Sting, legend, not going to be a jobber, obviously. Stu Grayson, jobber. Even though he has a good record, he's still a jobber to me. He hasn't won anything. The Blade, jobber. The Butcher, jobber. Trent is like, even though his record is 29 and 20, Trent, I think, still, even though he hasn't wrestled in weeks, because he's injured or whatever, he's still one of the guys with the most activity. So I like Trent. I do believe that the Best Friends will become tag team champions relatively soon. Hopefully, right after the Young Bucks. You know, Wardlow is not a jobber, except Wardlow has only had 14 matches in AEW. 3 of them he's lost, but they've been against people like Cody Rhodes, right? And he's won a lot of matches against jobbers, but the upside is great. The upside is great on Wardlow. Powerhouse Hobbs also has grown on me since joining Team Taz. Team Taz is like the hurt business of AEW. They're doing a good job with their wrestlers. Powerhouse Hobbs, when everyone was going crazy about how good Will Hobbs was, I was like, this guy sucks, you know? He's like a jobber, you know? But now he's interesting, you know? Because now he's Powerhouse Hobbs, and he's a bad guy. And that character is better as a bad guy. Women's roster, the living dead girl, Abaddon, jobber. So people are saying Abaddon is hot. I don't know what the fuck they're thinking. She's like fucking fat as shit, all right? Ali is a jobber. She hasn't done anything, you know? Anna Jay, obviously a jobber. Awesome Kong needs to come back. Big Swole, where the fuck is she, by the way? She's not a jobber, but where the fuck is she? Brandy Rhodes, complete jobber. Britt Baker, she is right there with Ricky Starks as one of the most improved wrestlers of the year for me. Annie Sakura, jobber. Hikaru Shida, obviously not a jobber, but Hikaru Shida is one of the worst champions of all time. I mean, this is like one of the most uneventful title reigns ever. Jade Cargill, I see potential here, motherfucks. Chris Statlander, what the fuck happened to this Chris Statlander? You know, I haven't seen her in a minute, jobber. Leva Bates, jobber. Mel, jobber. Nyla Rose, not a jobber, but not interesting. Penelope Ford, I don't think this girl's ever going to achieve anything, jobber. Riho, I don't like Riho, jobber. Deal with it, cucks. Serena Deeb, I don't really like her either, jobber. Shana, Portugal's favorite athlete, no one cares, jobber, beat it. Tai Conchi is alright, I like her, hopefully she does some things. Yuka Sakazaki, jobber, complete jobber, no one cares. Broadcast team, jobber, so we have Alex Abrahantes, jobber. Alex Marvis, jobber. Dasha Gonzalez, I like her. Excalibur, don't like him. Jim Ross, overrated now, motherfucks. Justin Roberts, jobber. Taz, he's alright. Tony Schiavone, alright. Referees, Aubry Edwards. You know what? I'm not going to talk about this. I'm going to make an entire video about Aubry Edwards and how much she sucks ass, motherfucks. This actually pissed me off just seeing her name, you know, because I forgot to make that video back in the day. So here we are, cucks. We've now done the jobber review of AEW, and here we are. As you can see, a lot of people are jobbers, by my definition, in that they're uninteresting douchebags. So there you have it. I'll talk to you guys later. See you soon. Stay safe, motherfuckers.